Hello YouTube, Wes here checking in with my monthly vinyl finds for the month of June. So I'm way behind on getting these done, getting these taken care of, but I'm finally ready to start producing videos again, and I wanted to show you my June finds before I show you my July finds, which are, we just ended July, so I have another batch of records from July as well. So yeah, the month of June was a pretty big month for me, mostly because of a trip down to Vinyl Oasis down in Ocala. They fully filled up their flip and dig bin area, and I had some pretty good luck there. So definitely want to share those with you, share some new vinyl releases that I got in the month of June, and everything else, couple thrift store finds and stuff mixed in here. So it should be a pretty good show. Hope you enjoy it. Let's go ahead and get into the first thing here. This is a new release for the month of June. Sort of a new artist to me. I like to check out new releases on Friday streaming, and stream this, and kind of liked it, even though it's kind of outside my normal wheelhouse. But this is by the group Bad Omens, and Bad Omens are known as a metalcore band, and I'm not real familiar with the metalcore genre. This doesn't really sound like metal to me necessarily. It's a bit new metal-y, it's a bit electronic in a way, a bit kind of dark, brooding, poppy sort of sounds as well. A bit emo, I guess you could say, as well. Just caught my ear, something I enjoyed streaming, so I put it on my wish list and was able to pick this up during the month of June on vinyl. There's the back cover and the song listing. And this is a gatefold with some lyrics in it, which is nice. What else do we have in here? I guess this is actually a 2LP release. I'd forgotten, it's been a while since I spun this, since we're into August now. Yeah, the artwork continues on the inner sleeves, and this is a, they call it an opaque silver vinyl pressing. 2 LPs, as I said. So yeah, a bit different from what I normally like to buy, but it was just something that caught my ear and caught my interest. So yeah, Bad Omens, The Death of Peace of Mind, released in 2022. Kind of different for me, but I kind of enjoyed it, so I went ahead and picked it up. Okay, the next thing I have to share with you is another new release for the month of June. Actually, I picked this up on release day. This is the latest album by Perfume Genius titled Ugly Season. So this is a very, very different project than we've had before from Perfume Genius, a very different sound. This is very dark, very brooding, very melancholic, I guess. It's difficult to explain. When I first put it on, I thought maybe it was a 45 RPM cut because it was so slow and so just very slow, and it felt like just, it's hard to explain. It was very slow and dark and very emotive, and so what this is are some songs that Perfume Genius wrote for an interpretive dance. The dance artist is Kate Wallach, and its dance is titled "The Sun Burns Bright Here," or "The Sun Still Burns Here" is the title of the dance piece. But this is music written for that dance piece. So once you kind of hear that, okay, this is written for like an interpretive dance, and then you listen to the music, and then you can kind of see why this is the way it is and why it's a very different piece of music from Perfume Genius. But I've really been digging it a lot. Definitely very different, but very, very good, and very somber at times, and very brooding at times, and it's got a lot of energy to it, I guess you could say, without being like in your face, punk or metal kind of energy. It's more of a dark kind of emotive energy. But yeah, I've been digging this a lot. I'm really enjoying this one. And this is a 2 LP set on black vinyl. So I definitely recommend checking that one out if you can. All right, next up, another album I picked up the same day I picked up the Perfume Genius album. This is a reissue of Mort Garson's Plantasia. Electronic artist from the 70s, I believe, was when this was originally released, would have been released. And it's kind of music, electronic music for plants. Has titles like Symphony for a Spider Plant, Ode to an African Violet, Rhapsody in Green. Just really interesting, spacey, very early electronic music, and it's just something I enjoy listening to. It can be very soothing, very mellow, and this was definitely something I've known about for a while. I've kind of streamed it a bunch, and I finally decided, I really kind of would like to have this in physical format, so I picked it up on vinyl here. I had a reasonably priced copy. This is a reissue done by Sacred Bones Records. Comes with a download card that has seeds in it, so you can plant the download card after you're done using it. It also comes with a nice booklet with descriptions of the different plants and tracks and stuff. So a nice reissue of this. Sounds really good. And I think there was maybe a Record Store Day reissue of this that was on green vinyl, but this is on black vinyl. All right, next we're going to get into some of the stuff I found at Vinyl Oasis down in Ocala. I picked up a couple of newer releases here. The first one is a new release from the dream pop artist Hatchie, Hatchie. I believe she's Australian. Kind of a jangly dream poppy kind of thing. It's not all wishy-washy kind of dream pop. It's really good, solid pop songs, but kind of quirky and kind of independent sounding, not the kind of pop music you hear on the radio. Really enjoyed this. This is another one I had streamed earlier and saw the vinyl format, the vinyl version there, and said, I'd kind of like to own that, because I did enjoy the stream of it. So I grabbed this one. It has a printed inner sleeve there. And then this is on Coke bottle green vinyl. Black and white labels there. Hatchie's Giving the World Away. A bit of dream pop with a bit of an edginess to it, I guess you could say. Really good album. Really been enjoying listening to this. That was another pickup for the month of June. All right, so the next thing I have is the other newer sort of release I found there at Vinyl Oasis, but this was a used record, so got a few dollars off of that, which was nice. And this is the latest one from Duran Duran, Future Past from 2021. I think it came out late 2021. The 15th album from Duran Duran. They're still at it. Sounds pretty much like a Duran Duran album you would expect to sound like. I've been enjoying listening to this one. I did kind of stream it some beforehand, but never got around. It wasn't a must pick up for me. But when I saw it in the used bin, I said, I'll go ahead and go for that. And it's printed inner sleeve there. And then this is the white vinyl pressing of it. I think probably one of the most common colors of this. I just wanted to have a physical copy of it, so I grabbed that one. Okay, so the next bunch of records were all from the Flip and Dig bin there at Vinyl Oasis. It's kind of like their dollar bin, although most things are $1.99. Some things are 99 cents, so it's either $1 or $2 for everything in the Flip and Dig bins. And you can find some really interesting stuff there if you're willing to step outside of the mainstream kind of releases. You'll find some pretty interesting things in there, and I found some really killer things. So let's go ahead and get into the Flip and Digs here. The first one here is a pop rock group that I was unfamiliar with, but I wanted to check out. This is the group Blue Yonder. I think it's self-titled from 1987. It's kind of a late 80s pop rock kind of sound, very radio oriented. yeah, it didn't really blow me away, but it was interesting to hear this, and I'll keep it around for a while, probably enjoy it some more. Next up, we got a copy of the Spencer Davis group, Give Me Some Lovin'. Yeah, just some good 60s classic rock. I don't know what Spencer Davis is considered. Is this considered garage rock or what? But yeah, pop rock kind of stuff. Yeah, that was a nice one to find. Yeah, I'm familiar with the title track, but not familiar with the more deeper tracks on here. So that one's a good one to have around. Next up is a piece of African synth pop from the 80s. 1989 it appears. I found some of this artist's work in Goodwill earlier this year and kind of dug it. It kind of has that rhythmic African pop kind of sound to it that became popular in the 80s. And this is Sifo Mabusa with Chant of the Marching. So that was a cool find. Glad to pick up another one of their albums. Next up, a bit of 80s R&B, I guess you could say. Kind of a New Jack Swing kind of sound a bit. And that's the group Full Force, Guess Who's Coming to the Crib. And this happens to be a German pressing of the album. But yeah, I'd never heard this album before, so I went ahead and picked it up. Probably won't be staying around. It's a little too just not what I dig. I'm more into more of a hip-hop kind of sound, and this is leaning definitely more towards the smooth kind of R&B kind of sound. But it was fun to hear, and glad I picked that one up. Next one is pretty cool. I did find more than one Vertigo Swirl in the Flip and Dig bin there. So anytime you see a Vertigo Swirl, it's worth picking up as a chance kind of thing, especially at these prices. So this is the group Atlantis. And I have not had the chance to spend any time with this really, other than a brief needle drop. But they're noted as being sort of a blues, progressive, kind of rock sound. Yeah, just it's on the Vertigo Swirl. I thought, what the heck? We're going to go ahead and pick that up. It does have some condition issues there. But the vinyl is in pretty good shape, so don't have to play the cover. Next up was a pretty cool blind buy for me, a bit of electronic new age kind of music here. This is Daily Lorian with Architects of Time. From 1991 is the release on this. Yeah, it definitely has sort of that fantasy kind of sound to it, kind of like a fantasy Dungeons and Dragons kind of world with elves and different creatures, and it's definitely more of a dreamy kind of peaceful kind of sound, and I definitely really dig this. Pretty cool stuff to hear. Very, very cinematic, as I said, very, very much kind of a fantasy soundtrack kind of thing. So yeah, that one was a cool find. All right, next up, a Jethro Tull album I surprisingly didn't have. This is Jethro Tull. This was nice copy of this. Great psychedelic kind of gatefold to it. This next one, another one for the Larry Coryell collection. Even though I said I'm trying to cut back on the Larry Coryell stuff, I had to at least pick this up and listen to it. This is Larry Coryell Standing Ovation on Mood Records from 1979. It's also a promotional copy, as you can see. This is more of the acoustic kind of version of Larry Coryell, as you can see from the cover there. This is not the sort of shredding fusion jazz kind of stuff that he's most well known for. But yeah, just an interesting Larry Coryell album I hadn't heard before, so I picked that one up to check out. Next up, we're getting into some really good stuff now. Next up is another Vertigo Swirl, and I did already have this album prior to this, but mine was a Spaceship copy, and this is a Vertigo Swirl copy. And again, it has the cover has some condition issues, but I just couldn't leave it behind because of what it was. And yeah. Aphrodite's Child, 666, Vangelis, of course. Again, definitely some condition issues with the sleeve here. It's kind of splitting. But this is, as I said, a Vertigo Swirl version. All right, next thing is a really cool pickup, something I never really thought I would have a vinyl copy of because the prices are just crazy on it, and it's not something I would pick up as a reissue either, just because it's not really in my wheelhouse, but it's something, you know, I'd like to pick up in here, and being able to do that was nice. And this is Big Star's #1 record, and it's a promotional copy of it as well. Really, really awesome to find this. Yeah, this is pretty neat. The vinyl itself does have some condition issues. It has like a bit of heat damage to the outer rim that makes sort of a light whooshing noise, but it doesn't really overpower the music, so it's not bad. You know, it's definitely doable as far as a listening copy. And yeah, you know, a well-loved album, probably that wasn't loved in its time, but now has become sort of a darling of the music lovers all over. And yeah, I was really, really happy to find this and be able to hear it. As I said, it hasn't really clicked with me. It's not normally the type of music I like to listen to, but I thought that was my one chance to be able to pick it up and hear it on vinyl, and I had to do it, so I grabbed this. All right, the next one is one that's probably my favorite find of the day out of everything I got. This was definitely something I've been wanting to have in the collection. It was reissued for Record Store Day a year or two ago. I wasn't able to get a copy of that, and that is Bobby Gentry's The Delta Suite. I was so glad when I saw this there at a Vinyl Oasis, because I've been wanting this. Originals are kind of expensive. You know, as I said, I wasn't able to get. And more than being the originals being expensive, they're not necessarily expensive. It's just that you don't find them that much. It's like you find the Bobby Gentry and Glenn Campbell album or whatever it was, and you know, you find some Ode to Billy Joe records, but you don't find any other. You don't find any other Bobby Gentry albums. Spoiler alert, I found another awesome Bobby Gentry album in a thrift store in Ocala in July, so there's another cool, rare Bobby Gentry album coming up next month as well. But yeah, this was one that was definitely on my radar that I definitely wanted to have, and I was really happy to find this, and it's in really nice shape as well, which is a plus. So yeah, that was my favorite find of the day there at Vinyl Oasis. All right, the next thing we got here is a Dave Mason record. This is Headkeeper. Just thought I would check that one out at some point. Kind of a folksy jazz rock kind of stuff. Next up was a pretty cool blind buy. This is Bloodstone with Riddle of the Sphinx, and Bloodstone are a funk group. And yeah, this is definitely funk from the 1974 on Crystal Records. But yeah, just killer cover on that one, and yeah, just some good funk from the 70s. Dig that one. This next one, I don't know what I was thinking. I probably shouldn't have picked this up, but just the cover is so wacky. I just had to give it a shot. It's not that great. This is Ethel and the Shameless Hussies, Born to Burn. Yeah, definitely a very 80s cover there. Kind of wild, but yeah, not musically not so good. You know, you're expecting like a Cyndi Lauper kind of thing, and it's just not. So yeah, maybe that's what they were trying to go for, but it just didn't work. So yeah, unfortunately, this one was kind of a letdown. But it was fun one to pick up and roll the dice on. All right, this next one was a blind buy, and probably the most interesting blind buy I had all month, I guess would be the best way to put it. Really, really interesting artist. I don't know a lot about them. This is listed as alt-rock experimental, and it's definitely very experimental music from the 80s. Let's see if there's a year on here. I cannot read the year, but sometime in the 80s. And this is Bond Berglund. And the album's titled Unearth. Yeah, just really, really weird, you know, kind of industrial, you know, a bit synthy, and just really interesting kind of music here. I don't know if this is available to stream online, but I would recommend trying to find it if you can, if it sounds like something you might like, if you're into 80s obscure kind of stuff, experimental kind of stuff, kind of, yeah, just weird stuff. Definitely check that one out. That was a cool blind buy. Definitely my favorite blind buy from the month. Next one was a cool find by the electro-funk artist Sylvester from 1982 on Megatone Records. And Megatone Records is well known for the electronic artist Patrick Cowley, and Patrick Cowley actually produces a track on here. And yeah, Sylvester is just a cool sort of gender-bending, non-conforming kind of artist, you know, electro-funk artist from the, you know, late 70s, early 80s, definitely ahead of their time. Really, really cool stuff if you're into that sort of that 80s kind of electro-funk kind of sound. You know, sort of post-disco, I guess would be the good way to put that. But yeah, really cool stuff. I was glad to have found that one. All right, and then the last one from Vinyl Oasis there. Got a bit of trance music from 2001. This is this is Bedrock Records, compiled and unmixed by Jimmy Van M. So I guess some different mixes of stuff, different artists. It's more of a compilation, I guess. 3 LPs. It's like about 2 tracks per side. Yeah, I didn't know much about this. Just thought it was interesting looking, something I hadn't seen before. I could tell it was electronic, but beyond that I couldn't really tell. But you know, interesting stuff, and definitely worth picking up for a couple bucks. All right, the next 3 are some Goodwill finds for the month, and the first one here is from Climax Blues Band, and this is their album Gold Plated. Yeah, I think this is actually, yeah, it's an album. I thought it might be a compilation. I'm not real familiar with this group, but thought I'd like to check it out. It has an interesting cover to it. And for 33 cents, I thought I would go ahead and check it out. So that's the Climax Blues Band Gold Plated. Next up, they had a Luther Vandross album titled Busybody from 1983. So I went ahead and picked that up as well. Yeah, I just thought I'd like to check this out. It's Luther Vandross. Not really my thing. It was interesting to hear, but probably not something that I'll be keeping. And then the last one, this is the main reason I bought the first 2, because at my local Goodwill you have to buy at least 3 records because they're 3 for 99 cents. They don't have any quantities smaller than that, so you might as well get at least 3. And this is a copy of Johnny Rivers' Slim Slow Slider album. Probably the best Johnny Rivers album. If you're going to have one, this should be the one, I would think. Really, really kind of a really good blue-eyed soul record. You know, if you like Van Morrison, you're probably going to like this. It's a really good album. But this happens to be, you can tell by the glossy cover, this is a German pressing of it. So I already do have a US pressing of it, but I do love German pressings. And when I saw this at Goodwill, I'm like, I have to have it. So German pressing of Johnny Rivers' Slim Slow Slider. Okay, and these last few are from the Salvation Army in Ocala. We went down the day we went down to go to Vinyl Oasis. We went to the couple of the other thrift stores in Ocala to check them out, and found a couple things at the Salvation Army. First thing here is Lena Horne, Lovely and Alive. Nice mono, RCA mono copy of this. Or no, this is a living stereo version. Sorry, for some reason I thought it was mono. But this is a living stereo version of Lena Horne. Yeah, just great vocal jazz kind of stuff. And then the last one I have to share with you for the month. This is another kind of vocal jazz kind of thing. Vocal jazz duo, I don't know. Ella Fitzgerald and Count Basie. Ella and Basie. Yeah, really a classic one from them on Verve Records. So yeah, those are my finds for the month of June. Hope you enjoyed the video. Leave me a like, leave me a comment, subscribe if you aren't already to be kept up to date with future videos that I make. I'm going to be getting back into it. I'm on vacation this week, so I'm going to be putting some in the can so I don't run into issues where I just get too busy, can't upload a video. So stay tuned. Thanks you very much for watching. Let me know what you think, and we'll see you again real soon. Cheers.